Shalom, giving our praises unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Raha, Hodash. Honors be to the elect elders of the nation of Israel that do labor and teach the truth and sincerity. Shalom to you, Akim, you hopeful elect, on the highway and hedges, making your body a living sacrifice, according to Romans 12 and verse 1. Shalom to sincere believers, which consist of men and women. Shalom, Brakatham, and Abba. This is your brother Zakar Aban coming back with another video. This would be pretty much like a various topics on stating the obvious. Okay, so we started book of Proverbs 2 and verse 1. And it says, "My son, if thou wilt receive my words and hide my commandments with thee." And when you're doing that, you are ultimately following Yahweh or Yahweh Shai. You are walking. This comes to mind, Leviticus 26 and straight to the point, verse 3 in KJV and also in the NLT. "If you will walk in my statutes and keep my commandments and do them." In NLT, "if you follow my decrees and are careful to obey my commands." And in following the laws, the statute, commandments to the best of your abilities, that's ultimately following Yahweh Shai, because Yahweh Shai is the word. All right, the word was made living. All right, "so that thou incline thine ear unto wisdom and apply thine heart to understanding. Yea, if thou criest after knowledge and liftest up thy voice for understanding." That's always, continue wanting to grow, praying to Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, that he increase you in this wisdom and knowledge and understanding. Okay, you never are at a point where you know everything. Okay, you got to put emphasis on that. So this is James 1 and verse 5. Because you may be, a decent teacher or a great teacher, may have a pretty good knowledge of certain things and a good understanding, but ultimately this truth, right, is like living waters, meaning it's continually flowing. You never can reach, that all-time level, if you will. All right, you continue growing. So James 1 in verse 5, "If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of Adonai Yahweh, that give it to all men liberally, and upbraid it not, and it shall be given him. If you need wisdom, ask your generous power, and he will give it to you. He will not rebuke you for asking." Okay, but you got to come in a certain way. You got to come with a sincere heart, right? Getting to the point. "If thou seekest her as silver and searchest for her as for his treasures, then shalt thou understand the fear of the Yahweh and find the knowledge of Adonai Yahweh." And a lot of these different religions are not showing the fear of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. Okay? And you can see that by what? By their actions. But they are going to understand the fear very, very soon. So it's a beautiful thing when you had the fear already, inside of you now. Okay? Because things, is getting bad. And it's going to get from bad to worse and even worse after that. But to have the fear now is, it says a lot. Okay, that means that ultimately the believers, right, are on the right track. All right, and all of us, that calls upon the name of Yahweh Yahweh Shai are what believers. Okay, "For the Yahweh giveth it wisdom, out of his mouth cometh knowledge and understanding. He lay up sound wisdom for the righteous. He is a buckler to them that walk uprightly. He keepeth the paths of judgment and preserveth the way of his saints. Thou shalt understand righteousness and judgment and equity, yea, every good path. Then wisdom enter into thine heart, and knowledge is pleasant unto thy soul." Your heart goes toward your mind. All right. It's a "description shall preserve thee, understanding shall keep thee." Why choices in NLT will watch over you, understanding will keep you. This is a person that is already following, the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. Okay, following what the word, keeping these, the word to the best of your ability, the law, statute, commandments, right, rehearsing the righteous acts, so on, that brothers preach all the time. Okay, but when you apply these scriptures, as I've been saying, basic and fundamental scriptures that we read, we must take heed. So when you keep, the fundamentals, ultimately it's going to do what? It's going to keep you preserved from certain, troubles. Okay, because we in the valley of the shadow of death. This is America. This is Babylon the Great. All right. To deliver thee from the way of the evil man, from the man that speaketh it forward things. Wisdom will save you from evil people, from those whose words are twisted. Okay, and that would be likened unto what? A false prophet. All right, and regular, as they say in the world, regular Joes out there, right? So it will give you what? Understanding, discernment, to understand like that's not the way to go. And we see a lot of people that just don't have it. Okay, even amongst the circumcision, right? It said to deliver thee from the way of the evil man, from the man that speaketh it forward things. So this is how we understand that, when something is not lining up with the scriptures, something not, going according to the precepts, we got to check that person, right? And if that person refuses to hear it, then ultimately you have a multi problem. To leave the path of righteousness, to walk in the way of darkness. Okay, enjoying what? Enjoying the way of evil. All right. Don't care that they are ultimately leading them astray. As a matter of fact, look how, certain things has been hijacked. Okay, by teaching lies. Right now, you can't even this comes to mind. Now when you wear a when you see a rainbow, right, or different colors, now they got that associated with the alphabet community. You got to say it and code it a different way, but they got that associated with what the alphabet community, which was hijacked. All right, because when you go into the rainbow, that was a covenant that the Most High the Most High promised that He would never flood the earth again, but the earth will be burned up. Speaking about this land, all right, speaking about different parts like America and the land of Israel. When you go to where earth, it goes into land. So this is John 3, and start with verse Salakia. Let's go to John 3. Yep, let's start at verse 18. Salakia. I'll start at verse 17. For Adonai Yahweh sent not his son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. Okay, and this world is speaking about Israel. Okay. Salakia. It should. Here we are. Always want to pull this up when you world goes to a cosmos.
Strong's G 2889. Cosmos.
Right, and it goes into government arrangement, right? World, universe, stars, and all of that. But government and arrangement, and that goes back to what Isaiah 9, where it says the government shall be on the shoulders. That's speaking about the nation of Israel, starting off with the elect. So verse 18, he that believeth on him is not condemned, but he that believeth not is condemned already, because he had not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of Adonai Yahweh. Getting to the point. And this is the condemnation, that light is coming to the world, and men love darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil. Now, real fast, let's go back to the book of Proverbs, chapter 2. Okay, I'm making a quick point. So this is Proverbs chapter 2. To deliver thee from the way of the evil man, from the man that speaketh it forward things, who leave the paths of righteousness, to walk in the ways of darkness. All right, that's wickedness. All right, that's that's wickedness. Following the ways of this world. As I was saying, I was making a quick point as far as now people teach that the rainbow applies to who the alphabet community, right? A lot of things that has been twisted, okay, twisting the scriptures to their own, to their own benefit, which is wicked as hell. Verse 20, verse 19, men love darkness rather than light because their deeds were evil. For everyone that doeth evil hated the light, neither cometh to the light lest his deeds should be reproved. All who do evil hate the light. All right, and this light is what is the knowledge, is the right way, and refuse to go near it for fear their sins will be exposed. They don't want to deal with it. But it's all good because this is, all ordained by the Most High. This is the Most High's will. Speaking about Yahweh. But he that doeth truth come into the light, that his deeds may be made manifest, that they are worked in the Most High. But those who do what is right come to the light, so others can see that they are doing what Adonai Yahweh wants. All right, and you're a light so shine before men. Okay, you're showing them what a pattern of good works. Right. So when you're doing the things that's pleasing to the Most High, there's really nothing no one can say to you. They don't have to like you, but what can you really say about a man that's, just teaching according to, the precepts, the correct doctrine, and go to, and the correct doctrine is according to the precepts. All right. So in NLT said, wisdom will save you from people wisdom will save you from evil people, from those whose words are twisted. Right, from those words who are twisted. All right, so they ultimately take the words of the Most High, and mishandle it and twist it around, right, to pretty much keep you in a trap. But when you do this, let's read, start at top once again. My son, if thou wilt receive my words and hide my commandments with thee, so that thou incline thine ear unto wisdom, apply thine heart to understanding. All right, so this is, then we skip down. He keepeth the paths of judgment, preserve the way of his saints. So when you keeping the ways of Yahweh Yahushai, it keeps you protected. Okay. It keep, now you're able to maneuver in Babylon the Great and still have a clear head and still be sober minded, as the scripture says. So like I said, this is pretty much various topics. Pretty much fundamentals, pretty much basics. So I'm in it there, giving all praises and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Raha, Chodash. Honors be to the elect elders of the nation of Israel that do labor, teach the truth and sincerity. Shalom to you, Akim, you hopeful elect on the highway and hedges, making your body living sacrifice. Shalom to you, sincere believers, which consist of men and women. Shalom, Brakatham, and Abba.